hey, nice to see you here. I saw the theater was showing Folie A Deux, but I have no idea what the hell this crap is. Anyway, since you're here, we might as well talk about the real Folie A Deux, episode 19 of season 5. Debuting May 10th, 1998, Folie A Deux pits Mulder in the middle of a hostage situation, and a man who believes his monster boss is turning his coworkers into zombies. The episode begins in possibly the worst way imaginable: telemarketing. I couldn't imagine there's a big enough market for vinyl siding that you have to sell it over the phone.
Yo, Gary. Dial and smile, Gary. See, if you're not smiling, they can hear it.
I don't think they can. I wouldn't be worried about smiling so much because it looks like this place has a massive cockroach problem. Mulder and Scully are brought in because they're being sent to Chicago to assess a possible threat. It seems they received an anonymous manifesto threatening harm against the employees. But can I ask why these psychopaths tend to write manifestos to begin with? Are they that narcissistic that they feel people need to know the what, where, when, why, and how they did the things they did? But why would Mulder and Scully be called to Chicago over a random manifesto?
It speaks of a monster stalking employees. Your insight.
Well, that explains everything. And poor Scully's like, ah shit, here we go again. Mulder's a little less than enthusiastic, but I never really noticed they kept his injured finger from the Pine Bluff variant. Mulder goes alone because he thinks this is just a nonsense assignment given to him because he's the monster boy.
But they can't see it because it hides in the light. I see it. I know where to look.
Hides in the light? It honestly just sounds like Tiger returned. That phrase does somewhat ring a bell, however. Mulder calls up Scully and asks her to search through the X-Files to see if she can find it. I don't know how many files they have, but that's gonna take at least a few days, if not weeks. The man who made the manifesto, Gary here, tries stopping his coworker Nancy from seeing their boss. But I don't know why he'd do that. It's not like their boss is a monster. Oh. Also, I really want to punch Gary's supervisor. I don't know what Gary was so worried about. Nancy seems fine, though she's a little paler than before. Now, Gary, what do you need that for?
Mulder.
Hiding in the light. That was a phrase spoken by one Gerald Resnick to a Lakeland, Florida police investigator on August 9th, 1992.
Damn, Scully is good. Mulder asked her to do this, what, a couple hours ago maybe? And she's already found it? She must be one of those champion speed readers. Scully tells Mulder about a priest who went a little nuts and started firing at his parishioners because he thought they were turning into something. So now this looks to be a little more serious than Mulder previously thought, and maybe he will need Scully. When Mulder gets back, it's become fully spooky. Like, where the hell did everyone go? Oh, Mulder can get down all right. Oh, that kind of get down. Scully arrives on the scene, but I have a very important question to ask. Where the hell did she come from? Did she drive through this crowd of people? Scully speaks to the agent in charge, and it's not looking good. Seems our hostage taker has everyone cooped up inside a room with no windows and only one door. Kinda hard to get a feel for what's going on inside when you can't see. Though, couldn't they just use one of those cameras they did in Dwayne Barry?
Why should we be afraid of Mr. Pincus, Gary?
Because he's a monster.
Yeah, he only gave everyone a 25-cent raise. Gary's convinced his boss is going to turn everyone into zombies, but not really the flesh-eating kind. I'd say probably closer to the voodoo kind.
Gary?
I'm not gonna lie, that looks kinda fun. The agent in charge does the very smart thing of calling Mulder's phone, which not only gives him away, but also gets a hostage killed. When Scully tells you not to do something, you should probably listen to her. Well, unless you're Mulder.
Mulder, don't get on the train. Mulder, don't get on the train!
Gary's really gone off the deep end. Not only did he think this guy was a zombie, but he also thinks his boss made the zombie attack him through telepathy. I'm starting to understand why Skinner gave Mulder and Scully this case.
Okay, we're sending you the cameraman now. Just stay calm.
Finally. Let's do it.
The only demand Gary's had was for a camera crew to document what's going on, so everyone can see his boss is a monster. Though I don't know if giving him a camera crew is the smartest idea. What's to stop him from executing people live on TV? He actually nearly does until Mulder gets in the way, though I don't know why that would stop him from shooting.
Look at it!
Alright, so maybe Gary's been telling the truth. That's still no excuse for being rude about it. Unfortunately for Gary, I don't think he was prepared for a tank. Gary may have died, but at least he got Mulder to see his boss Mr. Pincus for what he really is. Although he did get hit pretty hard, so he may just still be a little dizzy. Mulder becomes hyper-fixated on Pincus because he's starting to question everything. He even questions Pincus about an incident that took place 4 years prior at another office, which he was also present for. Seems like wherever this guy goes, his employees start turning into zombies.
There was a reason the phrase hiding in the light seems so familiar to me. I found it, or variations of it, in 5 other X-Files.
Mulder starts piecing together reports from older X-Files and Pincus's job history, and things are starting to line up. What really makes me laugh is Mulder goes off on this tangent about insects, and Scully literally just stops him and says no.
Mantids, for instance, they're said to be able to hypnotize their prey.
No.
Scully believes everything Gary saw was nothing more than a mental illness, but when Mulder drops on her that he also saw it, she has to backpedal a bit and be like, no Mulder, you don't have dementia. Mulder asks Scully to autopsy the body of the supposed zombie that Gary shot, but in a very rare instance, she actually says no.
No.
So instead, Mulder decides to go off and figure this out for himself, though it doesn't appear he really likes being alone because he brings Agent Rice with him. They discover a map in Gary's room, which looks an awful lot like the one Mulder was putting together. Why is a zombie just sitting there staring at him? A zombie that can drive, apparently? Oh good, it's just the bug monster. I was gonna say a driving zombie is kinda ridiculous. But why did they drive there just to watch Mulder like a creep? Scully gets called into the office because Skinner's a little concerned with what Mulder's up to. She assures him that Mulder is off investigating a legit lead, and offers to meet back up with him. But instead, Skinner drops the autopsy on her lap, despite Scully telling Mulder that she wasn't gonna do it. Try telling Skinner you're not gonna do it, Scully. It is kinda interesting that the previous episode had Scully questioning what Mulder was up to, and now we have Skinner basically doing the same thing. Mulder really likes to keep people guessing. Scully doesn't exactly perform an autopsy, she basically just tells her assistant here that they're taking pictures and nothing else.
Loading, I'd place the time of death between 48 and 72 hours.
No. This man died late yesterday afternoon.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, what's this? Someone correcting Agent Scully? Though the body doesn't look very dead to me considering it's still breathing. Bug Boy makes his way somewhere, completely unaware that he's being followed by Mulder. But what happened to the zombie, and where's Agent Rice? You know, he's kinda speedy for a giant bug monster. Well, that's terrifying. Sorta reminds me of the scene with the old lady from The Exorcist 3. Mulder, you're gonna need a bigger can of Raid. For attempting to help this poor woman, Mulder gets rewarded with a reaming by Skinner and Pincus. Mulder straight up calls out Pincus for being a disgusting bug monster, but Skinner just treats him like he's starting to lose his mind.
Get out of the way! No! Look at him! Stop! Look at him!
Mulder literally saved Skinner's life and again is rewarded, this time with a little visit to the psych ward. At least Mulder can joke with Scully that him being in a psych ward shouldn't be that shocking. Despite seeing a body that showed signs of decomposition that shouldn't be present on a freshly killed human, Scully thinks Mulder's on the crazy train.
Scully, you have to believe me. Nobody else on this whole damn planet does or ever will. You're my 1 in 5 billion.
Oh, Mulder, you old romantic you. His words seem to work, however, because Scully decides maybe she should check on that body one more time. You know, maybe do something more than just take photos. Thanks, Scully. Scully does find something interesting on the back of the body's neck, and it appears to be large bug bites? Maybe now Scully will believe they're dealing with a giant bug monster. Mulder gets a little shot of something to help him sleep, though is that really necessary? I'm sure he can sleep on his own just fine, he's just a little crazy. Well, this is the most terrifying game of shadow puppets that I've ever seen. The nurse comes in and she's like, what the hell are you yammering about? He tells her about the scary shadow, and instead of calming him down, she instead antagonizes him by opening the window. That's a strange mark on the back of her neck. She couldn't possibly be a zombie. Or maybe she is. I don't know, Scully, what do you think? Scully came in guns blazing and saved Mulder's ass for like the 50th time at this point. Unfortunately, now she has to try and explain to Skinner what she saw. Is Skinner gonna throw her in the psych ward now as well?
Men and women described by Mulder as zombies.
The episode also ends on a bit of a sequel bait since the monster was never actually killed, though we never get an actual sequel, and who knows how many more zombies are out there now.
Mr. J. Cox? It's here.
Folie A Deux is a great episode. For a season that had a lot of really fun Monster of the Week episodes, this one is definitely up there for one of my favorites. I love the look of the monster itself. As silly as it is, it's kinda cool. The fact that it's a man in a costume makes it even cooler. Though when you look at behind the scenes photos, you really do see just how goofy it is. It sorta reminds me of the original Predator design, which also looked like a giant bug monster. They do a good job hiding its flaws with quick cuts, jittering effects, speeding it up, and keeping it mostly contained to the dark. But as much as I love the monster, I think the main focus or point of the episode is building up that unbreakable trust between Mulder and Scully. There's a scene near the end where Mulder tells Scully that she's basically the only one he can count on to believe him, his 1 in 5 billion. And I think this basically cements the fact that these two are where they should be, and it's basically them against the world. After a season full of mistrust, lies, and deception, which honestly is the entire series, but that mistrust that was built up between Mulder and Scully I think is pretty much set aside by this point. It sorta needs to be anyway since the movie is only a few months away from being released. This episode has a good ramp up in tension. The hostage scene and scene at the end where Mulder's strapped down about to be killed by the monster are especially effective. And a big reason why that tension works so well comes down to the episode's writer Vince Gilligan. But funny enough, even Gilligan admitted that not everything about the episode was firing on all cylinders. As he put it, we're usually on such a short schedule that there has to be a weak link somewhere. And for Folie A Deux, that weak link was, in his own words, the monster. Now personally, I love the look of it. It's a man in a bug suit, that's kind of awesome. But yeah, behind the scenes, no one on set was taking it seriously. Actor Brian Markinson, who plays the telemarketer Gary, said that the first time he saw the thing that was supposed to be haunting his character, he was stunned. It was a short woman wearing a bug suit. She had some kind of breathing apparatus stuck in her throat. And according to reports, when director Kim Manners saw it, he just kept repeating, "Oh my god, my career is over." That kind of reaction was apparently the norm. Editors and crew could be heard laughing in disbelief, especially since they were so close to the end of the season and had barely any time left to fix the bug problem. Gilligan even explained that the suit itself may have been a little too well made. He said, if anything, the bug suit was over-engineered. The eyebrows moved and all the little antennas wiggled and stuff. If it had been a little lighter and a little less engineered, it would have been easier to move in a believable fashion. And considering it weighed close to 70 pounds, the stunt performer wearing it could barely move in the thing. Despite how silly it looked in person, they did manage to make it work. The editing team, the lighting, and especially the visual effects team all came together at the last possible second. In fact, it was effects supervisor Laurie Calson George who pulled off the last-minute miracle, finishing her work literally the morning the episode aired, which seems to be the norm this season. Gilligan praised her by saying the stuff she did was amazing. She took the footage with the monster in it, erased the monster completely, took the monster to a different screen, animated it, and added speed blur. In the end, the monster is barely visible at all, which he says was actually his original vision, a monster that you can only barely see. Even the location had to be adjusted on the fly. The production team originally wanted Gretchen Starnes' house, the woman's house Mulder visits, to look something out of Edward Scissorhands or The Truman Show. Bright, pastel, and weirdly artificial. But the real tract home they found just wasn't creepy enough. So instead they relocated the scenes to a much older house in North Vancouver. To pull off the shot where the monster crawls across the wall, they rigged part of the house with special equipment. And for the ceiling shot, they went full practical. The crew built an upside-down living room set on a soundstage and had the stunt woman crawl across the floor. Then they flipped the footage in post, making it look like she was defying gravity. Old school effects magic at its best, and again, likely inspired by The Exorcist 3. And speaking of the concept, Gilligan said the inspiration was rooted in something deeply unsettling. The idea that there's a monster only you can see. That's literally the textbook definition of madness, and in his mind, that's what made it terrifying. He also joked that having the monster be your boss was a pretty universal fear, and setting it in the world of soul-crushing telemarketing just made that anxiety hit so much harder. What's also interesting is that Folie A Deux was originally intended to be the very last Monster of the Week episode. I mean ever. With the movie just around the corner and only one episode left in the season, the show was basically wrapping things up. The idea at the time was that the X-Files would end as a weekly series and continue on as a string of theatrical films. But Fox quickly realized that pulling the plug on one of their biggest hits might not be the smartest move. A weekly cash cow like the X-Files doesn't come around too often, so they scrapped the movie-only plan and decided to keep the series going instead. This might be one of the smartest decisions Fox has ever made, especially considering their reputation for canceling promising shows before they even get off the ground. I mean, this is the same network that killed Firefly, Briscoe County Jr., Almost Human, The Tick, the list goes on. Pulling the plug on the X-Files at its peak would have been just one more disaster to add to the pile. Folie A Deux currently sits at 8.5 on IMDb. I really like this episode, and I'm thinking maybe somewhere between an 8 and a 9. Next up, we have the season finale, as a young chess prodigy becomes the target of assassination, and an old girlfriend of Mulder's comes back into his life. Oh god, not Diana Fowley. In the episode, the end. So what do you think of Folie A Deux? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, I think I'm gonna leave this movie because I don't know what the hell I got myself into. Though Skinner seems to be enjoying it. I hope I see you in the next one, and stay spooky.
Something is driving Agent Mulder.
Get out of the way! Look at it! Stop struggling!
To the edge of insanity.
I was hoping you could give me some insight into Agent Mulder's recent behavior.
Help! It's here!
The X-Files, an all-new episode Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.